traveler, let's go! The world is full of lost ballads just waiting to be rediscovered.
How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to another Wizard101 video. I'm here with special guest CDubz, formerly known as Potato Wizard.
What up?
And today we're doing a very special episode of Stitch Review. Before starting this introduction, you probably have already seen the 3 new stitches that are going to be official stitches through my stitch attire with all of my wizards who have major drip. I have him in the call because he's also a wizard who has major drip, probably the best drip. But,
I have the most drip.
Yep, basically. They call him the drip base god. But essentially today we are going to be going over your stitches. Everybody knows about this. Scales going from 1 to 10. However, to have enough introduction, let's just get started with the first submission. That comes from Raging Keyblade. This first submission is going to be coming from Raging Keyblade, the Cloud Stitch, very nice inspired stitch. Essentially, the idea that he had for this one seems to be very similar to what he wanted for Roxas in a way, since they have a pretty similar hairstyle. Essentially what they have for this one, got a hairstyle. Seems like the robe comes from Zafaria is what I'm assuming, because it looks like some kind of like safari robe. And I'm not sure as to what that wand is, but it seems like it fits the theme pretty well. Me personally, I feel like for the wand, there is one that I was thinking about with the wand from Dragonspire. I think you get it from the Labyrinth, and it looks exactly the same like a Cloud Sword. And it probably would have been fit a little better, but personally I still really enjoy it. So what about you? What do you like about the stitch?
You know, I'm not like one to have lots of references, like just on the, you know, on the physical appearance of like no knowledge of what this is supposed to be. I'd say it's pretty basic.
For sure.
But you know, when you include a reference, it makes it so much more interesting. But I would have to agree. I think maybe because, I mean, the picture here, homie's got like a massive sword, so I feel like the two-handed swords would be like kind of nice to put with this stitch. I don't know if he like dual wields in Final Fantasy, or if he's like literally like swinging that thing with one hand. But
no, he's like so for Cloud, he's essentially, I believe he uses 2 hands to wield like the extremely big sword that he has. There's like so many different versions of that specific sword. There's even one where it looks exactly like this one, like in the rock style. And there's actually a blade that you get. It's a single-handed sword, but it's like a blade that you get in Dragonspire. You might know the one as the ice one from the Catacombs, where you get like those Dragonspire swords. I felt like that one would definitely have looked a little bit better because it looks a lot more similar to that sword. But this one's just fine. Like, it fits the getup overall.
yeah, I like it. I mean, it's It's good. I dig it. I don't get it, but I dig it.
So what would you give this one out of 10?
I give it an 8 with the reference.
Yeah.
I wish I understood the reference better, but I've never played this, so
I give it an 8
call
as
me
well.
uncultured.
Next submission is going to be from Mean Mocha. Now, really cool thing about this person is they like to make really interesting kind of, I guess you could say art. You know, you probably call it art. I think it's safe to say that it's basically art. Essentially, the whole idea is that they make specific kind of like emotes or specific poses for wizards that you usually won't see them in game until you try to like manipulate it to the point where you can actually make these poses and, you know, just makes really cool looking stuff. And his Stitch is no different. I absolutely really love the whole getup for the Stitch. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure where the robe comes from. It looks very similar to the Sinbad robe, but I don't just want to assume it's a Sinbad robe. I could definitely...
It's definitely not.
Yeah.
I know where that's from.
You know where that's from?
I know where that's from.
You know where that's from?
Aiden's robe.
Really?
That's the Hawk Rider's robe. It's just colored black and blue, and that's what I
Okay.
like about it. It's like so distinguishable as like something that you feel like you would recognize, but for whatever reason you don't. And because it's like an older bundle and it's retired, like you don't see a whole lot of people running that. But
True.
for Aiden, like he's my bird character. He's bird themed. So the Hawk Rider bundle has like feathers hanging off the sides of the shoulders. So like
Okay.
that's why I chose this robe, and that's like the only reason I know this robe even exists. I would honestly forget it even like is in the files for the game.
That's crazy.
But I run mine black and red, so to see an ice wizard running black and blue is so unique to me. Like I would have never, like if I saw his character in game, I'd be like, what is that? Like I like it, but like I've never seen like an ice wizard run that kind of robe. It's sick.
I would say this is a 10. Like, I think this is the best one so far.
I like that one. That one's good. I would give it a 10 too. I like that one. That one's probably, I mean, like, I don't know what the other ones look like, but that one's going to be hard to beat. I like that one a lot.
You'd be surprised because there's actually a lot of pretty decent contenders. Since there's like a lot of people who have submitted before, and they make some pretty impressive stuff. Which we are actually going to be looking at one of them right now. This one actually comes from Devin, and he is submitting a Stitch that was a little bit before, but now is a completed Stitch. His first Stitch, the one with the hood, is for his balance, and it's Cabal inspired. So he actually does have the Daniel or the Simon sword, essentially.
I give this one a 10 for a different reason than the other one. But I like this one because, like, you know, like the one thing I wish Wiz would do more is I wish that they would make gear that also kind of mimics, like, certain bosses. Like, I think the best example is Malastaire's robe. I wish that, like, every big boss in the game had some sort of robe that, like, matched. You know what I mean? I think like a Morganth robe for like the females, you know, like maybe even a Belosh robe for like a mob style like apparel. I mean, there's a lot of bosses in this game that have really neat clothing styles, and Wiz was like, you know what? Nah.
Yeah, let's just not even bother doing it. Like, not even in the pack as well. Like, you think that they would actually make this kind of stuff in the pack at minimum.
Yeah,
so it's like, oh, yeah,
mean,
this will be a good money grabber.
It's just, I like this because it's a very close, like, replica to a group or, like, an organization in Wiz. It's not actually, like, it doesn't have its own, like, clothing line for whatever reason. I like it.
I would say for me, the thing I really like about this Stitch for sure, like it's a 10 for me as well. Not necessarily all because of that. I do like the Cabal theme, it fits really well. But like every time I look at these boots, normally one will think like, oh, it doesn't necessarily match 100% well with what the gear is. And I will disagree. I think it fits very nice, specifically because of the sword that he's carrying, fits the color and also fits the material pretty well. But when I look at this, I think of like, oh, this is like a wizard that's like being corrupted, and it's like steel on his boots. It's like,
yeah,
you know, in the future it could go all over his body and he'll just become like one with steel kind of thing. Like,
right.
He's like known as the Steel Cabal or something like that. And it just looks neat. Like, I feel like thematically, it is very interesting, which is why I give it a 10.
Oh yeah, I would give it a 10 for the same reason, and I think kind of like what you said too. It's almost like you can imagine this character being like an NPC that's like, hey, either like you fight him because he's on the wrong side, or you know, he's like, we're gonna do some shady stuff. Don't tell him, Barrel.
Don't tell him.
Don't tell him, dude.
Now let me tell you this. He has more.
Oh,
And we're looking at another. Yeah, we're looking at more right now.
Okay.
Like right about now. This one is a Grizzleheim theme stitch, and I have to say, this looks really sick. Like, I don't even know what to say.
What? What is that robe? I've never
seen that robe before, but it looks
okay,
amazing.
I know where the boots are from because I used to run the boots. Those are chrysalis crafting boots.
Those blocking boots, right?
They're
They're like the block boots, the ones that give a lot of block.
Oh, you know, I don't know. All I did was craft it for the looks because it looks like Grizzleheim. It looks like Grizzleheim boots, but they're not. They're from Chrysalis. What is that robe?
I don't know.
I'm trying to figure out what
Yo,
that robe's
Devin,
from.
if you're watching this, let us know what that robe is, because I might want to cop it real quick. Like, it's sick.
Dude, I love that blade too. It's just so good.
Like, this guy looks like a chief of a tribe. Like, he gives off
does.
that vibe.
He really does. I like it.
I would say this is a 10 as well, me personally.
I give it a 10. I give it a 10 because I love Grizzleheim, and it's the same story, you know, like there's only like 3 gear sets for Grizzleheim, so whenever I see something that's like different, I'm like, ooh, I like that, you know.
You rock one of them too, kind of, with Aiden.
Yeah, Aiden kind of has like a, you know, like the Raven style Grizzleheim look to him, yeah.
And that's the thing, like, I think it's very hard to try to make like Grizzleheim gear like really work. I feel like sometimes it just looks too silly, but there has been people like you and also like Devin who have managed to actually make it work, and it looks solid no matter what you do. You can run around with it and no one will bat an eye telling you that it's bad. They'll just be like, yo, nice stitch, bro.
Yeah. They're like, it's like one of those things that they look at and they're like, I've never thought of doing that, now I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, literally. Next submission is going to be coming from, I believe, if I can find them real quick, because I think this one's a hidden comment. Yeah, this one's coming from Canra, and it's the one with the cat ears and some of the new pack stuff. I'm not sure if you're aware of this pack. It's like an astrology
like
pack.
The astrological one.
Yeah, this one's sick. This one's
like
sick. This one's a 10 automatically. Like, I looked at it for the first time. I'm like, it looks great. Matches the pet. Matches the sword, and I don't really see many people rocking this. It's like automatically a 10 for me.
See, this is a girl stitch done right. Like, it just looks good. You know what I mean? Like, I hate that it's literally pack gear, so I'm gonna give it a 9. But like, it's so good. Like, it's just, I don't know if it's because like the gear is newer, you know, so like that, you know, that's going for.
Well, that kind of helps.
You know, it's got such good texture to it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a high definition piece of gear. You know what I mean? It just looks really good. So
I think it definitely helps that it's from a new pack, because I believe the old ones still kind of have a little bit of the old texture, just like a little bit different lighting and shadows. So I remember one time for one of my balanced like energy stitches, he has like the little bandana thing that looks super cool, but like it's so outdated now with the new graphics. So like the only thing that really changed for it was like, oh yeah, we added some shadows and light to it, and it looks new, but it just can't compete with some of the new pack gear. Like, it just looks way better graphically. Yeah. All right, and next submissions, we have 3. This one's gonna come from Ashley, who has entered a couple of times as well. So we have the first one, very similar to what Devin stitches. I really do like the implementation of the sword.
They're wearing like the same gear.
I love the implementation of the sword. The boots are actually from Beast Moon, I believe. Like they are probably Beast Moon boots, because I believe with Devin he had, let's see.
Wait, are you sure? Those look like the Archangels.
They might be Archangels or Beast Moon, because they look very similar.
Oh, love that. Good job, Wiz.
But this one's pretty solid. I really like it a lot. I think the Celestial one's what does it for me for sure. According to her, it's her fishing gear stitch.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, I see you.
I like it. You know, cut up the fish a little bit. You know, eat some nice fish. It's like we don't throw them back in the water. We cut them open.
No, we do not.
But yeah, this one, I say this one gets a 10 for me. I really do like the addition of the boots and that celestial one. Never thought it would actually work, but it works. So I'm giving it a 10 on this one.
I'll give it like an 8. I think 8 is good.
Yeah.
8 is good.
Her final submission though is gonna be like an ice stitch.
Okay.
I'm not sure what theme she was kind of going for this one. It seems like kind of like a casual, like maybe like a explorers or so, kind of is what it gives off the vibe to. It does look good. I would say it looks pretty nice. Like it gives like that tourist vibe. She seems like she knows how to defend herself. This one, I would say it's like an 8. You know, it just fits.
I'll give this one an 8 too. Out of the 3, I like this one the most. I think this one's my favorite out of those select 3.
So the next one comes from Kimberly. Now her first stitch is her main stitch, and this one's sick.
I like this one a lot.
What else can I say? This is essentially yet another Mirage themed gear that just looks really good. Never thought I can see that. Like a specific gear from Mirage that looks really good. Like this one's just really solid, especially the wand. Definitely gives for me a Queen of Agrabah vibe. So this one for me, it's a 10. Like there's nothing I can say.
I give that a 10 too. If I could, I'd give it more because that one's good. I like that one.
I told you there was gonna be some stitches that are like really good in this episode. Like they come from people who have submitted like really good stuff before, and here they are back again, submitting even more amazing stuff. All right, and the next one, a little bit of an iffy one. So this one, according to her, it's a practical modern wizard tier, and she has a hood on because she's afraid of it being blown off if she just wears like a regular hat. So she has a specific reason why she's wearing the hood.
Okay.
But other than that, I would say it is interesting. I'm not the biggest fan of the robe. It is interesting though, like it matches the colors. Not the biggest fan of the robe. I feel like the robe kind of does it injustice because of how very like slim it is compared to the baggy boots, and along with the hat that just has a different entire theme entirely. Like it's a completely different theme. Wand's really solid though. This one for me is probably like a 7.
I can't believe that you're capping on the Crab Alley shirt. Like, come on now, that's like bougie.
I'm not the biggest fan of Crab Alley shirts.
It's so good though.
Yeah,
like,
for
that,
me, it's like a
that
turn-off,
gives me
dude.
Selena Gomez nostalgia, dude. Like that is A1 prime Wiz time. Like 2000, what was that? 2009, 2010.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta look now. That was like prime Wiz. I gotta look. It's gonna bother me.
It's like, man.
Okay, there are YouTube videos from King's Isle from September of 2010 with Selena Gomez coming to Wiz. So 2010. That robe is 10 years old, dude.
That's
I love
crazy.
That. I love that so much.
What would you give it then?
Ooh, you know, the thing that strikes me is like the last one, all the colors were like almost identical. This one, not one of those shades of blue is like the same. And it really bothers me. I'm like OCD like that.
Yeah.
Like I've literally pitched outfits because one of the reds, like even though it's the same color red in the dye shop, it looks different on the character, and I'm like, no,
Yeah.
no.
It's
This
the
is
same
one of those
issue I had
moments.
with
I'm
my
like,
Myth Wizards, where I was trying to go for like a really nice red, but then instead it gave me burgundy. On the bright side,
Yeah.
though, most of it came from like the same set, so like it came from the Buckingham Palace, so it was gonna fit anyway. And luckily, the duelist hat also had like a burgundy color for red instead of like actual red, so it worked out. But yeah, that actually did bother me a lot for sure.
Yeah, I think that'll dock it for me. I'd give it like an 8 though. I like it. It's kind of, it's like you know, preteen bad girl Selena Gomez. Love it. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. I don't know. For me, I've just never been a big fan of Crab Alley shirt. I guess I'm just a hater. I guess I'm just
You're
a
so
hater.
free, dude. You did not live in 2011.
Yes, I
in
did.
Wiz.
I just
No, you
never was a
didn't.
big fan. I was never
No,
a
you
big
didn't.
fan of Crab Alley shirt.
I remember like all the like level 15 wizards that would like somehow get access to Crab Alley. Like they would spend like a bunch of time like doing trivial stuff, and they would buy Crab Alley as like free players, and they would like strut this robe, dude. It's like so good. Oh man.
Maybe I'll have a stitch that makes it work. Maybe.
I love how, I mean, like Wiz has changed a lot, and like that social side of Wiz, I feel like has drastically changed. Like I don't know how many people play for free anymore, but back then it was so many people, and like all they would want is like certain pieces of gear, right? To like just put them just a little bit above a normal free-to-play account. And this was one of them. This was always like one of the robes that you could pick up.
We're going to move on with Devin's stitch here. This is another one. I believe it's his death stitch. Essentially, according to him, is that it's a modern witch magician theme stitch.
I like it.
So like it's Marleybonian theme. It's
Okay.
actually really good. I didn't
dig
really
it.
think that the boots were gonna match the whole getup, but it makes it really interesting. Like again, the whole idea is to keep it modern. So like the boots definitely give like that modern look with like the rock vibe, but you still kind of keep that Marleybonian side with the hat and the robe. So
Yeah.
this one, it's a 9. It's a 9 for me.
I give it a 9. You know, I like the other skull where it's got like the gray. Gray
Yeah,
things.
that would look a little better, but I think the reason why he picked red was for the eyes, to match the
Yeah, I was
eyes.
gonna say it makes sense with the eyes. I'm just not a fan of red. So I'm like, you know.
Yeah, it makes sense. I kind of like the black one better as well. Like the gray with black flame. A lot better.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one, it's a 9.
9. Yeah.
And the final stitch submission will be coming from Time. Now, he started off actually starting to make some stitches recently, so obviously he's still brand new to this whole gig.
Okay.
I'd say that they're not necessarily going to like be as wowing, but they are pretty solid stitches. One of them comes with like that little nice sword and shield, which who knew that you can actually make sword and shield look pretty decent? Because I know for
Right.
a lot of people, sword and shield is always a big issue for a lot of people to
Yeah.
make it look good. This one looks pretty sweet. Obviously, we have a whole Dragonspire theme. I'm not sure if those boots are meant to be going with the whole getup that he's going for, but it looks good. That's all I really have to say. It looks good. This one's gonna be like an 8 for me. I think it's solid.
I think it's solid, but I don't know if I'd give it an 8. I'd probably give it a 7.
You think it's a
I
7?
feel like a 7 is good. Yeah.
I think really it's because sword and shield kind of does it for me. It's like it's not necessarily the easiest thing to do. It's kind of an achievement in itself, in my personal opinion, which is why I give it an 8.